So what would Paul want us not to do for an intro? And that's what we should do.
I could just see us talking about bike parts and Paul just going OTB immediately.
We did not do bike parts. Crikey.
We should do this live while he's racing his next stage for the BC bike race. Somehow get it so it's piped in front of him and he's just, turn it off. No bike talk. No.
All right. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Joey Podcast, the mountain bike podcast with two guys with wives, lives, and well-paying jobs. And one guy who has only one of those three things.
Actually, I don't have any of those things.
And he's not even Paul. Where'd your accent go, Paul?
Hey, we'll get to that. Don't blow it.
Okay.
We're certainly not the first to have a mountain bike podcast, nor will we be the last. But in ours, we talk about everything except for mountain bikes. Actually, we do kind of talk about mountain bikes, but just not seat angles and stroke lengths and leave all that shiz out. But today on the show, we have with us Josh.
Hello, everyone. It's I, Josh, from Australia. That was my Paul's Australian European accent. Anyway.
Perfect. I feel like we're just going to give him so much crap today because he's not here. That's it. Me, I'm Sheyn from The Crashing Dad. And special guest from the YouTube channel RC's Outdoor Gold.
What's up, everybody? It's RC with RC's Outdoor Gold.
Perfect. That radio voice is just so nice.
Every time I meet somebody whose name is not a normal name, but like two letters, like JD or, PJ or RC, I'm always like, what's that stand for? So RC could stand for Radical Cats, could stand for ridiculous chariots. That would be a cool name.
A lot of times, like if I go to a coffee place or something, and they'll ask me for my name when I order my drink. And there's some really interesting spellings that I get. I mean, we have Aresee. Sometimes I'm like Archie for the day. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
Lots of confusion out there.
I feel like we could give away your real name, but we'll just leave it at like...
I don't even know how to spell my real name.
Optimus Prime.
No, we cannot give it away. We have to keep it under wraps. All right. We're so excited RC's here. We got to jump right into our comments, though, Sheyn. We had comments galore last week. Did you see them?
Yeah, last week, so we're doing this thing where we like to clickbait and then not even talk about it till like 30 minutes in. Some people are super upset about that, which is fine. Maybe we'll throw a timestamp in there. But with the comments, I think last week you said you were going to comment on every single one of them personally. Did that happen?
Yeah. If you guys can just hold the podcast for a couple minutes, I've got to respond to some comments. I did get to a lot of them. I did. And Sheyn, I think you did better than I did, but we had some good ones.
I try to get in there. I just don't get the notifications. So
yeah, I need to do that.
We try to get you. So comment on the YouTube link of this podcast, and maybe we will read your name, just like we are going to read the people that commented on our 27.5 versus 29 wheel sizes. Oh my goodness, that clickbait was like crazy.
And we did talk about it. It took a while, but we got there.
Yeah, like 27 minutes, I think. Yeah. Someone actually did a timestamp, so thank you for that. But our friend, Brennan Tuning, I think this is like the second time or third time he's chimed in.
He's basically part of the podcast.
I feel like he deserves like a second or third. We have someone else who's like a fifth.
Yeah.
But Brennan Tuning the second, he said that the ultimate Joey Award deserves a punishment. The recipient must ride a 26er every week in a row that he is Joey of the Week.
RC, what do you think about that? Would you ride a 26er?
I mean, I would. I would honestly take one for the team. And, when it comes to like 26ers, and especially Walmart 26ers, I mean, it doesn't get really any better than that.
Take a Walmart bike to Whistler Bike Park and
exactly.
Yeah. Hey, there you go.
Exactly.
Then your daily MTB and Paul the Punter.
Walmart bikes are good for YouTube. That's about it.
Literally, the Walmart creators behind the bikes. What are these bikes really good for? Not basic riding on a path, not to store in your garage to look cool. It's really just for YouTube clickbait. Yeah, I agree.
No, okay. So, truth. If you don't know, RC, the reason he's here in my garage is because he just lives down the street from me, and we ride here together. And we've talked about like doing like $100 bike challenge on our crazy tech trails. I I think we should make that happen.
You know, it's probably something worth making happening.
Yeah.
Out there.
I might have 2 bikes from Amazon sitting in my garage waiting for a video. Maybe I'll just ship them to you guys. Except probably the price to ship those would be the cost of the bikes themselves. So I'll just buy you 2 new bikes.
Perfect.
Go make a video. Yeah.
Well, I'll put my address in the comments below. Everybody can send me anthrax.
Perfect. Hey,
All right.
hey, the next comment was both mean and totally against me, so I have to read it. It was Jordan Boostmaster.
Who's that?
He's a small
just-
YouTuber.
Okay.
Known for boosting it. He's
Okay,
the
keep going.
Okay. Anyway, Jordan first said instant dislike. Didn't even watch the video. Just saw the title. That's all I need to know to give a dislike. He's smiling because Jordan is like the king of 26-inch wheels, but now he has a 27.5. And then he said, "Josh, here's where things get personal. You better watch it, Jordan. Watch your back. Josh, I'm going to say the reason you don't notice the bigger wheels in the air is because you don't have enough experience with jumping in general." And then he said, "Not trying to be a douche or anything, but me and my friends can easily notice the difference." And I read that and I said, "Well, you know what, Jordan? I thought I was your friend, but obviously I'm not because only you and your friends notice the difference." So
Call out.
That's just savage right there.
Call out.
no, I thought that was good. I actually responded to Jordan. She would be happy to know. And I said, "Jordan, you're right. I really probably don't have enough air experience on a 27.5 versus 29er. So it makes me want to go get a 27.5 downhill bike and a 29er, ride them back to back, and then see if I can stand by my word or not." I don't know though. I don't think I would notice.
You know, I wonder if half of that is him going from like 26 and then riding like a 29 and being like, oh, because 26 and 29 is pretty easily noticed, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Jordan, like he would in the past demo different bikes, and I remember him demoing 29er trail bikes, and so he probably demoed some 27.5, but I'm curious if it was like 29er trail bike versus 26er DH bike. It's like, yeah, that's going to be obviously different, right?
Yeah.
Jordan, pipe up. He's probably going to make another slam comment. I love him. Bring him on.
Call out, Jordan. We hate you. I'm just kidding.
You hate Jordan? What?
No, I don't hate Jordan. I don't even know who he is. Okay, next comment.
And then, yeah, David Barr, thanks BAHR. He said, everyone needs to sell their 27.5 bike and get a 29er so they can go 0.03 seconds faster on their Strava segments. He got it. He figured out the equation for
Nailed it
success.
head on. Well, then after that, you have to buy another fork for that with 0 offset.
Yeah. Yeah, the 0 offset 29er fork. And then that will add another 0.001. There you go. You're winning.
No, there is a common theme here. And what I'm seeing is any excuse that you can make to buy a new bike is a legitimate excuse to make, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
And maybe, you know what, maybe that's why the clickbait videos work so well. It's not necessarily the debate on wheel size. It's just people want the other one and they're trying to convince themselves to get it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And getting a new bike will make you a better mountain biker, which is a good reason to get a new bike.
Guaranteed success. You will be better instantly.
Well, RC has 2 bikes, 2 carbon bikes, and they're both long travel 27.5s, which I'm wondering, like, dude, why didn't you buy your second bike as like a 29er or something different from...
You know, I actually did run the 2-bike system where I did have a 29er and a 27.5, but 29 tires don't work on 27.5 wheels. So
that is true.
I streamlined it to having them both very much identical in several ways. So if one goes down, like, we could have an emergency excavation on that bike and put everything on the other bike to at least be mountain biking. Mountain biking is our goal in mountain biking.
I will say, out here in Grand Junction, you do need 2 bikes if you want to keep riding.
Yeah,
well,
you do.
I was less concerned about the wheel size, RC, and more concerned. You said new bikes always make you a better rider. So were your bikes like used when you got them? Like, how does that work?
No, so actually with my bikes, they did, and I'm not entirely sure. I think I got worse the longer I started riding, you know.
We've all been there.
But see, like I did the thing where I built the bike from the frame up. So I don't know what that says. Like if the bike gets built from the frame up, does that mean my riding goes from the top down?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how that works. That's awesome. And then, okay, last comment that really stood out to me was Pokey6 with a bunch of weird numbers. He's just said : ha 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 ha. Dude, that was joke of the year.
You're going to have to watch the past podcasts to find out what Pokey6 is talking about.
Yep. And all I have to say is that me and my friend talked recently. I think we're going to go into a colon together. It's going to be pretty cool.
It's nice. Get a ride on lawnmower. Okay. So that brings us to, from the comments of the week, to...
But wait. Make sure you leave your comment this week so that we can read it live on the air, because we want to read all your comments, what you think, what you're thinking, and what you think most importantly about our favorite segment coming up. Wink, wink, wink.
Segue. Is it it's the joke of the week.
Wow, that was the best air bass playing I've ever seen in my life. That was so good.
Well, next week we're gonna have a drummer in here,
Dude, that would be sick. Slowly every week add a different person. I can get behind that.
So Joey of the week.
The question is
on Joey of the week, don't we?
Wait,
No?
what'd you say?
I said we need some comments from the viewers.
Yes. People have not been commenting on their Joey moments. We need your help, guys. We're not the only Joeys out there.
Call yourself out. Call out Jordan Boostmaster.
Boostmeister. And if you're curious, how do I know if I was a Joey, or how do we figure out who is the Joey? You just have to ask who, what, when. Aaron Gwynn. If you ask those questions, you will figure out who the Joey of the week is.
Did Aaron Gwynn do anything? I have no idea. I don't follow him.
No, but I think he's back racing. I don't know, guys. We need Paul here to talk about professional racing and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Shane, did you have a Joey moment?
I didn't use gardening gloves or any excessive protection this last week.
Oh, wait, you only used gardening gloves 3 times? Is that right?
Well, yeah. Kind of, sure.
Gardening gloves.
I can't say I had anything this week personally. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, I tried really hard. I tried to take all the sealant out of my tire. I tried to break spokes, but I just ended up being awesome. It was just one of those weeks,
What, did you put a bunch of rebar and nails and screws into a board and throw a camera on there and try and do that?
Well, if you're ready for another tubeless tire torture test, who knows what will happen? Just check my YouTube channel. But no Joey moments for me, unfortunately. What about you, RC? You must have had a Joey moment this week.
Oh, obviously. I think my Joey moment of the week is when this gnat bit me behind the ear. It was actually just me not riding my bike at all, which it doesn't really get any more Joey than that.
Yeah.
It's when you have 2 high dollar and expensive mountain bikes and they're hanging up on your wall in your garage. That is the definition of Joey.
Not brought to you by Yeti and Evil.
The evil Yeti.
I feel like that there's some true statements to that, right? Like, we've all gone to a bike park or the trailhead and seen the guy with the pristine, looks like it's brand new. You ask him, he's like, "No, I've ridden this a ton." I'm thinking, obviously you haven't ridden it enough, dude. That's pretty Joey. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Any acquaintances have Joey moments? I'm trying to think. I don't think I had any.
Okay. So if we're going to accept nominations from comments, which comment now, I think we should accept nominations from us for people that we've ridden with. And I think I have a nomination. So I did go riding just some of my local trails. And my local trails are very climby and technically, if you haven't watched any of his videos.
Paul basically hates our trails.
Yeah, Paul was complaining the whole time. I mean, in last week, what did trail features say? When it gets chunky, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Okay. So
when it gets janky, that was what it was.
Yeah, janky. Point is, our trails are very janky. And I ran into this guy from Denver who was riding our trails on a downhill bike, an old 26er downhill bike, which that's controversial in and of itself.
Every time.
I was hey, and he had trail forks out and was trying to find something. I was like, "Hey, dude, what are you looking for?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm looking for Holy Cross." And I was like, when I want a really technical, uphill, challenging day, that's the trail I go to. It's really fun, but you're on a downhill bike, dude. So I take him to the entrance of it and it's look, I know you really want to do this, but come do this more downhill oriented trail with me. It might be a little bit quicker. He's like, "Oh, okay." So he's going, we're going. And even though he was on a downhill bike, I think he was still maybe getting used to biking. I don't know. But
he was new. He was the Joey, wasn't he?
Okay, man. I guess I'm calling him out already as a Joey. We'll call him a Joey. But he went down a feature that I probably should have told him to walk, and he got a flat tire. And it's like, oh, okay, like we can change his flat tire. He's got a DH bike with a 10, like his axle takes a 10 mil. He didn't have a tool for that. Couldn't take his wheel off. He didn't have an extra tube. His patch kit was all dried out. Like he had nothing to get himself out of the trail. Like, so I don't know.
That's pretty Joey. Not having
a lot of things stacked on top there.
Not just a 26-inch 10 millimeter through axle, but didn't have a spare tube. And was he pedaling uphill at all? Like, did you go with him uphill?
He was kind of pedaling uphill. Oh man, I really hope he's not watching this.
Well, he's probably listening on every place that you listen to podcasts, including Spotify, Apple, whatever, and using my radio voice. Anyway, but yes, I think. Do you know his name?
I can't remember. I feel so bad about that.
Well,
I felt so bad. I was whipping out my tool. I was trying to take an 8 mil, and like I said, do you have like a 2 mil that I can put in with my 8 mil? And he didn't have a tool on him, and I felt horrible because usually when I ride with someone, I like to take care of them.
Sure.
But,
yeah. Well,
I think he deserves a Joey.
Anytime you're walking at your bike, that's a Joey moment.
Yeah, that is a Joey moment. So Joey of the week goes to the man on the trails with Sheyn, who had a 26-inch bike without a tube.
Yep. Sorry if that's boring. If that was boring, comment what your Joey of the week moment is, and we will mention it on next week's Joey of the week when we do nominations.
There we go. Thank you, Sheyn. That was beautiful. All right, time for my favorite segment. Where'd we ride this last week? Let's start with our guest, RC. RC, did you ride anywhere last week? Did you take those bikes off the wall?
I actually got to ride today.
Nice.
And it was gnat-tastic, I would say. There were a lot of gnats out there. They were really friendly and really hungry.
So wait, this will sound stupid. I don't know what gnats are. We don't have those in the Pacific Northwest.
So, like, kind of to describe gnats to you, they're itty-bitty bugs that you could barely see, and they fly.
Okay.
And when there's one, there's probably, 50,000 more. They fly really fast, and they go all over the place, and they land on you, and they like to bite you.
Okay. Is it like a mosquito bite?
Not really. They have, like, sharp teeth, so when they bite, they just you kind of feel agitation, and then you go, ah! And then you swat them away. But it's like, gnats, in my opinion, are worse than mosquitoes. There's no repellent. Oh yeah, there's no repellent. There's it's a plague on the land. It really is.
They even love the DEET. You put the DEET on, and they're still
sugar.
coming out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was like 96 degrees.
No, it's pretty hot.
And we decided to climb up the jankiest downhill trail that we have because we were just like, hey, why not climb up this janky downhill trail?
And that's pretty much it. But I mean, as far as current riding, the list is, it's a pretty easy discussion. But as future riding planned this summer, I got some tall tasks ahead of me. So,
any noteworthy things that we need to bring you back on for after you ride them?
It's actually the 10-year anniversary since when I hiked my very first 14er, and that would be Mount Elbert, the highest point in Colorado. 14,000 feet. If you are not in the United States and you use meters, I can't help you there.
Neither can me and Sheyn. We're in the right place together, guys.
We're right there. And so it's barely taller than Mount Rainier for reference to Josh, so to speak.
Hold up. If you're going to talk hiking or road biking, shaving your legs, not using 2 wheels to enjoy a descent, we're gonna have to give you a cutoff here.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. So Mount Elbert was the very first 14er that I hiked, but I'm planning on going back 10 years later to mountain bike it.
Yes.
Yeah. Proud of you, RC.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, talking about road biking or hiking or whatever you were just talking about, because I wasn't listening because it doesn't involve me, is the perfect replacement for Paul, because he would talk about all those things and then give an excuse of why it's awesome, but I still disagree. Anyway, Sheyn, speaking of Paul, this is where I should politely jump in and go, Sheyn, what are you eating? Stop eating on the podcast.
Yeah, I started it with popcorn. I figured I'd have to keep going. We've got these little baby cheesecakes.
Baby
cheesecakes.
Why do you even have baby cheesecakes?
Oh, it's so cold.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's because we hosted a dinner party, and we had baby cheesecakes from Costco.
Your
Not brought to you by Costco.
your
Incorporated.
English accent slowly went to like a hillbilly accent.
Because that's how I see English people.
All right. So RC was in the gnat infestation of Colorado. Guys, I need to get over there. I just figured out I might be going to Bentonville in October when I was planning on going to Colorado. And the reason I'm going there is because the trip would be free. So it was like pay to go to Colorado, which is 10 times better, or go to Bentonville. That looks really cool, but it's free. You hear what I'm saying?
Dude, Bentonville looks sick. To be like the classic YouTuber, MTB YouTuber, I'd be like, Bentonville looks sick, bro.
I'll do that. Next video.
Swap those corners.
I know guys from here that have ridden in Bentonville, and I think it's kind of like maybe a case of the grass is always greener, but they're like, oh, this is better than here, you know. They have purpose-built features, and it's just kind of one of those things that I think like when you're there, it's just something that you're going to have fun with.
Bentonville is a place that Walmart totally poured money into, right?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Not brought to you by Walmart.
Costco and Walmart are not part of the funding of this program, but if they want to be, we're looking for sponsors. All right, on to where I rode. I only got out once this week, which is sad. I was editing. I know. I was editing videos, but I went for a ride with my good friend Jesse. He's been on the channel before, and he said, Josh, can I bring my friend? And it's always a yes, because we all know when we first start mountain biking, right? And you bring somebody you don't know very well. They're like, can I bring my friend? And you're like, sure. And then that friend has a Walmart bike and they don't have a helmet, so they put a knee pad on their head. Like, we all know those rides, right? But Jesse's ridden with me long enough. It'd be like if RC asked to bring a friend. Yeah, of course. You know what to expect. So my friend Jesse calls his friend. His friend doesn't have a bike. Jesse brought his second bike. Shows up, has a Fred Meyer helmet, tennis shoes, like normal, like going on a hike clothes. And I just think, what is going on here in my head, right? But I'm a nice guy, Josh. Hey, what's your name? His name is Mike. And Jesse's like, yeah, Mike's gone on like 6 rides. He shreds, and he loves mountain biking, and he's super addicted to it already.
Did he have like a BMX background?
No. His
motocross?
Motocross. That was the background. Yep.
Those are the dudes. Those are the sleepers.
Dude.
Yeah.
And there are some guys like I got a buddy and his name is Devin here, and Shane's ridden with him. He kind of came from motocross and mountain biking, and he just got wrecked. Like the difference for him with mountain biking, it was so slow and he wanted to go so fast, but he just didn't really have the skills to make that happen. Like the carriage was always in front of the horse. He could always hit these road gaps, but after he landed them, he would like right into a tree.
You got to be able to get out of it before you get into it, right?
Yeah. But point is, motocross and BMX people, they
transition very well, like especially if they practice certain things and they kind of like, I think there's an adjustment period in there. But I mean, with dirt bikers, I mean, they break femurs. Mountain bikers break collarbones and stuff.
It's a little less painful. Yeah. So we started riding, and at Galbraith and Bellingham, you go on, they're pretty long rides because you have to kind of traverse the mountain. Ends up being, I don't know, maybe 1,800 feet, 2,000 feet. So it's not crazy, but for a new person, that's a lot. So we made it up a climb, went to a little jump park. I was distracted by some friends that I knew, but saw that Mike was a little tired. I think his name was Mike. Now I feel like Sheyn. I feel bad. Anyway, he looked a little tired, and it was Mike, I think. Anyway, so we kept going, and my friend Jesse's like, no. He wants to like go on a full ride. And I was like, okay, we'll go up this climb called the Wall, which is super steep. And he climbed the whole thing. It was totally tired, made it all the way to the top of the mountain. And then we went into a trail that's called Space Wolf. It was like a black loam trail, which once again, RC and Sheyn, let me explain what loam is. It's like fresh.
Loam?
What's
I've
loam?
never heard of that before. Loam?
I'm pretty
I would explain it. Just Google it.
Okay.
But this loam trail, it's kind of like in Whistler when they open new trails, they're loamy and fresh. And then like a week later, they become cement and like crazy full of potholes.
Oh, like the Lone Ranger.
No. Yes. So anyway, this trail had become like, I would argue like a very difficult black trail, arguably double black in some spots, full of roots, like edges on the side, just like you could fall off the cliff and die. And so I drop in and I'm thinking, we should not be on this trail with this guy. And so I like go pretty fast and I stop thinking it's going to take like 30 seconds for him to catch up. And then like 3 seconds later, sure enough, Mike's behind me again. I'm like, oh, dang, impressive. Then we go down further and there's like a weird like edge of a rock you have to ride down. So I get down it and then I pause. And sure enough, 2 seconds later, Mike's popping up on the rock. I'm like, what is happening here right now? Like, I thought I was going to have the ultimate Joey of the Week moments. This guy is slaying it. And so we get down and that run, and I was just like, count me impressed. And then we went on further to the next trail, which has 2 pretty substantial rock rolls. You guys don't really have rock rolls, do you? You just have like rock cliffs, right?
We have them, but I don't think we have them to the extent that like Canada has them because they're not granitic.
We basically have one that's like a big one.
Moab has a couple
that Alex wrecked himself on, toilet bowl.
Oh, but, yeah.
That's about it. Okay.
That's about it.
Yeah, toilet bowl, that's for sure. Yes, I've seen all those videos. That's a rock roll. But yeah, anyway, so we went in. There was like 2 pretty substantial rock rolls. I mean, they're not for the faint of heart. And so we went down the first one, and we're both like, Mike, you don't have to do this. Like, don't be a hero. We want you to come back. He's like, okay. Turns around. We think he's going in the ride around. Jumps on his bike. Just super slow brakes. No problem all the way down. I'm like, dang, like bike handling skill. And then we went to the next roll that was like straight down, and we were like literally like, don't do it. Seriously, don't do it. Save it for next time. And then dude went for it, and I thought, this is going to be it. This is going to flaps out, right? Somehow, like he rides it perfectly. And I was just like, I literally like at the end of it, I looked at him and I said, Mike, I'm half impressed and half like, you're going to kill yourself at this point, so you need to slow down. But anyway, that was my ride, and man, I was very, very impressed and blown away by what looked like a Joey, but was definitely not. So that was my ride.
Wow.
What's the opposite of a Joey?
Pro of the week.
Yeah, pro. I was gonna say Aaron Gwynn of the week, but he's
going to say
category.
the Johnny of the week.
Oh man,
Yeah,
dude, that's super cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. Okay, Shane, what about you?
Well, okay, for me, other than the Joey of the week with the DH bike, and other with I've lost. Okay, just edit that out. Other than the last ride,
I'm not editing any of this out, Shane. I'm in charge of the edit.
Paul is going to be so upset. No, so we have a local bike park that just had their opening weekend called Powderhorn, which is only like 45 minutes away, but they only have like 2 or 3 runs depending on what's open. And I was just thinking, hey, I'm going to go to the bike park and support the opening weekend, maybe enjoy some downhill. But I ended up like running into a bunch of friends there. It was amazing. And one of the friends that I ran into, his name is Danimal. Well, he's Danny, but we call him Danimal. And last October, he had a serious back injury and he's paralyzed from the waist down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he's gotten all, the GoFundMe and charities and everything have totally hooked him up with like a sweet trike bike that he fits into and he can ride. And so we pause the lift and we like strap his huge trike bike onto there and we get to the top. And, it's funny because I was expecting to, I was his point man. I was expecting like, okay, we're just going to kind of mosey down the trail. But I'm kind of thinking that he was like, well, I've already broken my back. I'm already paralyzed. I'm just going to go for it. Like, so
I can't break my back again. Right?
I know. Right. So I got to like shred with Danimal, be his point man. And, with the trike, it's a little bit, he can't like lean because he's got 2 wheels up front. So sometimes he'd go off trail and I'd go out and like pivot his bike and lift him up and push him back onto the trail. And I don't know. It's just a really cool experience to not only have, me be there with him, but have people in the community be there with him, just supporting him and like helping him get through things that aren't meant for trikes. And it really just opened my eyes to any problems I have are nothing compared to like all this stuff that Danny has gone through and has overcome. It's just showing that you can still shred no matter what, like whether it's bikes or life, like, you got any? I'm tearing up.
And kind of like for reference, if you're kind of curious in who Danimal is, he was in the Nate Hill's video, I think a couple of weeks ago. I think Nate Hill's titled it Perspective, and he follows behind Dan in that one. But yeah, he was actually one of their, if you keep perspective here, one of the best riders in the Grand Valley.
He holds a lot of KOMs. He's got a lot of top 10s. He's got stuff that people still can't break. I'm talking Strava here, but yeah, like, so yeah, it's super cool. If you haven't seen Nate Hills' perspective video, like check that out. It's pretty. I'm tearing up. I gotta stop. But no, it was
getting emotional. Paul, like, would Paul let us get emotional right now?
We have true heartfelt bro moments.
Yeah.
Okay, Danimals is
was.
writing. You got to help him. It's just it's the mountain bike brotherhood.
And it was just
It's a small community. Yeah. It is a small community, and it's a good community.
Yeah, but yeah, I had a complete blast just riding with him and a bunch of other people that were helping him, and yeah, that was my ride of the week.
That's awesome.
And
now,
yeah,
I have to ask about this trike. Does it have a battery on it so that he can like propel himself if he needs to?
It does. So he can brap it if he needs to, but he also has like the hand pedal.
Oh, wow.
That's like he can have it be an e-bike hand pedal, or he can just hand pedal. But I think for the most part, like, I think he mainly just braps. Sometimes he'll hand pedal, but
yeah.
I would brap too. It's sick. But yeah, that bike for him is a total game changer.
You have to say that with the Paul.
It's a total game changer.
Mm.
Yeah, which brings us to our next segue. Oh no, wait, does it?
Yes, it does. It's time for talking about the things Paul would never want us to talk about. It's gear talk.
Gear talk.
I was just going to say we need a song.
Going over the bars right now. He's going over the bars because we're talking about bars.
All right. So when it comes to just totally like being a game changer, we were thinking there's nothing more game changing that marketing says is a game changer, like carbon versus aluminum.
Ooh.
Do you guys agree?
Yeah. Is that our clickbait of the week?
Ooh.
It's the clickbait of the week. Not quite joy of the week. It is clickbait, but I mean, you think about it. Like, I even think about how bikes are spec'd. Unless you're common Sal, however you say it, nobody.
How do you say it?
I think it's common Sal. It's gear talk. We should figure this out. Anyway,
it's like a Marcosi,
Marzucci.
No, it's a Marzucci or Marzucchi. So, some of us just have to figure out the hard way that humor is humor no matter what. Anyway, so Common Sal has these like high spec aluminum bikes, but I feel like most every bike company, they only spec their aluminum bikes at kind of low components, and then you have to jump up to a carbon frame to get all the nice stuff. And I feel like that's kind of like marketing that carbon is for advanced, super experienced riders. I don't necessarily think that's true, but that's what the market tells me. I don't know. What do you guys think?
That's a pretty interesting point. Why don't you take it for Shane? Because I got to think about this one first.
Well, okay.
RC's like, my brain has never thought this hard. You literally made me think.
I don't ever use my brain.
Well, for me, so the bike that I've ridden for the past year is a Rocky Mountain. And one of the big deciding factors for me was they had aluminum options for the bike that I wanted. But the thing about that is, I mean, they did have like a top spec aluminum option. And then when you made the jump, like the price was fairly comparable. When you made the jump to carbon, that carbon bike, they had a low spec carbon bike too. Mm. So like they have low spec to high spec aluminum and low spec to high spec carbon.
Yeah.
And for my first bike, I decided to go aluminum with a higher spec.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know, like I demoed all the carbon and I fell in love with the carbon, and then I bought the aluminum and I wasn't disappointed. I mean, I didn't get on it and be like, oh, like they catfished me, like it's, I mean, it is a little bit flexier when you're really putting down power or when you're really shrouping through corners, bro. Mm. But like, I don't know. I feel like aluminum has gotten to the point where if it's designed well, it can be freaking awesome.
And I feel like it's like the right tool for certain people in the right circumstances. I'm a huge proponent of building a bike from the frame up, as I probably said once before. That's always that's been my thing. Both my bikes are both bikes that I built from the frame up. That way I get what I want. Just to start off with. And a lot of times, I mean, you could get on Pink Bike, you could buy used parts. You have friends out there. A lot of times your friends, if they've been into mountain biking for a long time, they'll have parts that they'll sell you or give you away, Yep. So there's you can find ways to really dig into some cost savings by building up a frame, but it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
I would argue that building up a frame is way more expensive than buying a complete bike.
It is, because you're not getting OEM pricing, right? You're not getting direct from the company to the bike maker. Yeah, it depends, unless you have friends. Yeah, with the whole carbon versus aluminum, I feel like the market, like I said, is pushing people towards carbon, saying that's kind of the superior thing. But personally, once again, I notice a difference from carbon, especially when I did a aluminum versus carbon hardtail. You instantly feel carbon stiffer, it's more responsive. But people are riding common styles in the EWS and in downhill World Series, and they're slaying it, right? So as far as speed goes, they're the same. Personally, I think I would pick an aluminum bike over a carbon bike, mainly for I'm worried about carbon bikes getting small, like, I was going to say blisters, splinters, and having failures over time. I've seen that happen a lot. Maybe that's just me, but the carbon thing, I don't personally know if the way higher price really gets that much more value. I think there is more value, but yeah, I'm torn, man. I really am.
Well, carbon, when carbon fails, it's catastrophic.
Yeah.
When aluminum, I wouldn't say like fails, but when aluminum starts to go, like you can see it,
And it can shear, and it's going to be a much cleaner brake than carbon, which it is in strands, and it kind of goes out everywhere.
Well, do you want to share? Okay, so maybe you should share your experience with a certain bike manufacturer and their upper level Turk version versus the regular version.
Yeah,
Turk,
so I don't
is
know.
Turk or Torque?
It was Turk.
The
Turk for the turquoise.
Okay.
When you get into carbon bikes, number one, I think you'll have some bike makers out there, and you'll have a sample size of a bike that they make, and you might break several of them. Mm-hmm. That was my experience. I know other people that have had that same experience with other bike brands out there. But I basically went through 2 SB6s within 7 days in terms of the frame.
Wow.
They broke in the same spot. And Yeti basically came back and said, look, we're going to fix the problem here, and we're going to send you an upgraded Turk model SB6. And so they really did help me out there at no cost to me. Bike warranties, if you're buying carbon bikes, it's huge. I've broken 2 or 3 Santa Cruz Reserve rims. Warranty is flawless. So,
okay. So, but back to your Turk bike. I won't call out the exact brand, but no, back to that.
Sorry.
As I wear my Mr. Taco shirt over here.
Would you say that it was worth it to have the Turk series versus the regular? Because the regular was breaking like none other.
I would, but at the same time, I think on that particular year model that they made adjustments to the structure of the carbon. And the other thing is, when you have a carbon bike, it is, if you discover a problem, that just doesn't get fixed overnight. When carbon frames come out, you're looking at frames that are 2 years in the past if you're buying brand new, with the exception of maybe some.
Are you talking like design?
Well, even the design, yeah, because I think on average it ends up being basically 2 years for that carbon frame to be made or ordered, and then to eventually get here. Yeah, and then you have to go through the testing and customer service process. You're looking at you could have a bike that you've manufactured in 2015, and then 3 years later you discover that you have all these problems with this one particular bike. And now the new input in research and design and engineering goes forward, and then you're looking at something 2 years down the road that maybe comes out. So there's always a lot of lag there.
Gear talk.
I just wanted to see Paul cringe. That's.
I'll admit, I wanted to shoot myself.
Now I do have a more specific question. So here's my thoughts. Carbon versus aluminum frames. Let's just do a quick hot round. Do you guys think it is worth the great added value for carbon in a frame? Yes or no?
I say it comes down to personal preference and who you are.
So based on your personal preference and who you are, what do you say?
I'm taking for the price and the weight, I guess I would take the aluminum bike over the carbon bike, but with a caveat.
Well, are we talking like value?
Yeah, sure. Value or just like the quality of the ride or like everything.
Well, I'm going to say carbon.
Really?
I'm going to go with carbon. I've been riding aluminum bikes. They're great. I love them. But every time I get on a carbon bike, I can feel the difference, the ride quality. I feel like the ride quality is way better.
I'm going to say, believe it or not, I'm going to say it's a draw. Like, I think there is more value, and I think you do get value when you go carbon, but I also think the aluminum is so enticing. I'm really stuck in the middle on this one. But
I knew there's going to be a but. Here it comes.
What about here, when I think of carbon versus aluminum, I think the main debates are frames, which we kind of talked about.
Yeah.
I think another one is handlebars and cranks, which we can talk about in a sec. But I think when I think this debate, I think wheels.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's my caveat.
The one area that everybody talks about is our carbon wheels for the, now it's only like, it can be like a $500 difference or a $400 difference. Is it worth it? So RC, jump in.
The first thing is, like, when I say I think aluminum bike has, I would take an aluminum bike. I'd take aluminum bike with carbon wheels. And the one thing riding carbon wheels that I like about carbon wheels is that since carbon is stiffer than aluminum, I think like all of us mechanical engineers here could agree on that, right?
Yeah, I'm a mechanical engineer. I knew what you were talking about.
I know. And so basically with an aluminum wheel, I mean, when you add weight to it, it's going to ovalize a little bit, you know, just like in a relative sense. Well, carbon isn't going to have the same like ovalization as the aluminum wheel. It's stiffer, so it maintains a more perfect round shape. But it also doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't really maintain the same comfort as an aluminum wheel because it's seriously stiffer. But I like the rolling. So I feel like it's a perfect match between the less rolling resistance with the carbon wheel, and then you got the flex in the aluminum frame in the frame of the bike that really seems to stand out to me.
I'm gonna gear talk with that because when I first bought my bike, I was noticing, I was like, oh, this rear end is really flexy. But I threw his carbon Santa Cruz warranted wheels on and it completely fixed that problem. Like I was like, oh, like aluminum bike, carbon wheels, this rides nice and stiff in the corners. So,
but inner rim width when it comes to wheels is also really important.
Yeah.
And I stress that if you are running like say 20 millimeter inner width and you're putting 2.5 tires, you're going to have a bad time.
You're gonna have a bad time.
It's gonna be what do we call it?
Yeah.
You're gonna get some waggle.
You're gonna get some waggle. You're gonna be all over the place, a washout city. You have to have compatible components with your compatible components.
That was partly my problem too. So
yeah, and yes, internal width does make a big difference. But I will agree with Sheyn that having carbon wheels, they're more responsive, they're more stiff, and it's not just. RC, I loved your illustration of kind of the ovalized, but
ovalization. I just made that up because I don't really know.
Paul would give you so much.
But it's also when you're like, you think about going around a corner really fast, right? Or like shrouping a little bit. I can't shroup, but let's just act like I can. You're putting pressure on the lower side of your rim, on the bottom where it contacts the ground, and that's going to bend it a little bit. And it's not a huge amount of bend, but it bends enough where it's energy loss. And so it's going to take some of that energy you're putting into the berm. Whereas a carbon rim, it's not, depending on how it's spoked, for all you nerds out there, right? It's going to have less of that energy loss. And so it gets more transfer. So it feels so different when I'm going down S curves on a flow trail, or even like a loamer or like just sharp cornering. You feel so much more responsiveness with carbon wheels. I think it's so worth it. Like, it's ridiculous how much it's worth it.
Well, everyone's going to chime in with that and say, what about the new Zip wheels that have the ankle flex? Because they flex. Like they're saying, they have the ankle flex.
Just yeah. The new Zip is making mountain bike wheels. Yes.
Yeah. And which like basically gets rid of that feeling that you're talking about. No, it's supposed to give more traction.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to try it, right? And see what I thought.
Wheel science is really interesting. I think it's like really deep into engineering. And then also pro input, because those are the guys that can really like add something to the calculus there, because they really feel what's going on. It's like if you put me on a bike and I have high speed, low speed, compression, and then you take the grip too. I mean, high speed, low speed rebound. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I can't really like kind of dig through high speed, low speed rebound, high speed, low speed compression. It's just something I don't even want to deal with it in a lot of instances. It's just it's more of a nuisance than anything else. I like to keep things simple.
Oh, it's so good. You just basically open up both of the compressions in your set.
Yeah, right. No, that's a good point. Just service your suspension.
That's funny because I actually watched that Mr. Lost Bike Shop video today with Josh in there as a cameo. Like,
yep.
It was like, oh, my low speed needs to be, I just wish I had 12 and a half clicks. And Josh, dude, that was pretty funny. You did a good job in that video.
The funny part is that's actually true life conversations. I'm like, I don't know, mine's fine.
Yeah,
but yeah, so with those type of things, you're saying like you don't notice those as much, but with wheels and feedback and that kind of stuff, RC, you're saying you notice that a lot more.
Well, yeah, I know I get feedback, and I think like whether it's a frame, whether it's carbon wheels, there's always going to be a performance enhancement, and really it comes down to personal preference and riding those kinds of products and determining whether you like them or not in the long term. It's like, I mean, we could talk about cranks too. I've ridden aluminum cranks.
Okay, wait. Before we go to cranks,
sorry.
Quick vote. Are carbon wheels worth the upgrade over aluminum? I say an absolute yes. Sheyn?
Yes.
In RC?
I'm going to say yes if you buy them from the manufacturer, because you got to have the warranty. You have to have the warranty.
My joke, I love this gear talk. This is just I hate this.
So bad.
My joke is the only wheels that come with lifetime warranties are ones that need them. And Santa Cruz is the king of the warranty because their wheels. Every person who I know who has reserve wheels, I ask one question: have you broken them yet? And every time everyone's gone, yeah, or nah, this is my first ride. And I just go, just wait.
But it's a 2-day turnaround, and they send you a wheel that's completely built up, Yeah. Not brought to you by
Santa Cruz. Well, I mean, legitimately, when I've broken my Santa Cruz reserve rim, add the Z in there, I send them an email, they message me back, they send me a new wheel built with the hub on it. I mean, as soon as possible. Just like 2 days later, it's like I get a new hub too, and I send them the old wheel back. I mean, you can't really.
Every time I hear people talk about this, I always say, "You guys know Kia's, like the car company, had terrible reputations. They came out with 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and everybody said, oh my gosh, their service department, they're so fast. They fix everything right away. And I just went, it's like they have experience doing that, right? Like the reason Santa Cruz is so good at that is because they do it all the time. But both carbon wheels sets I have had never once had a problem. I did break a spoke, but that was on me. But the wheels themselves never had a warranty, never had a problem. And guess what? One of them had a lifetime warranty and the other one doesn't. I'm not worried.
And I mean, that's a legitimate point.
Daily MTB brought to you by Full Speed Ahead.
Yeah, Full Speed Ahead.
Hey, I didn't say the brand. I've had 2 sets. One of them was not my current sponsor, but yes, they've both been great.
Oh,
yeah.
And that's okay. It's okay to be sponsored.
It's okay to be, yeah. I mean, we could talk about that until the cows come.
We're just regular guys.
I know you guys hate me for my sponsorships.
So here's the thing. I would go out on a limb because I feel like sponsorship in YouTube is kind of like a new phenomenon.
It is.
And especially, well, not in YouTube in general, but like in mountain biking, because like everything that's ever happened in moto vlogs is happening in mountain biking YouTube. It's like the same. I mean, it's just the same story, different format. And I personally have absolutely no problems with it.
Well, so here's my theory: is you would not accept your FSA Full Speed Ahead sponsorship if you weren't stoked on their products.
Yeah, and that's the thing with all sponsorships. Anybody who is sponsored should seriously and fully consider, would you back this product if there was no paycheck and you didn't get the supplies for free? And if the answer is no, then do not be sponsored by them.
Unless you're Aaron Gwynn and you're getting millions of dollars from
We won't talk about that. I just had a conversation with somebody about a certain brand that somebody whose name might sound like Schmer and Hin would be sponsored by. But anyway, all right. Last carbon versus aluminum thing. Let's go cranks and bars. What's your quick opinion? Do you think it's worth it or not? I'm going to go right off the bat. I do not think it's worth it. I have carbon bars and cranks on my bike. I do love that they don't break on my cranks, and I haven't ever bent a crank, which I've done many times with aluminum. But personally, I don't know if the super high price point is worth it. RC?
So, like, for me, as far as like handlebars go, I am not a big fan of, necessarily carbon bars. I do like them in some things. I don't think they're as creaky as aluminum bars when you get fine dust in there. But honestly, I think for like the average rider and even upper end, highly advanced rider, I don't think you need carbon bars. I just don't think you get the performance. And I feel like so much of what happens on the handlebars starts at the grips. And so if you get good grips, I think that's kind of a good starting point there. As far
Brought to you by Rev Grips.
Rev Grips, right? Hashtag not sponsored.
Well, that's tough though, because for me, when I upgraded my aluminum handlebars to carbon handlebars, because coming from road biking, I looked at the handlebars and was like, oh, they're only $130. Like road biking handlebars are $500. Yeah. So dang. I was like, oh, $130, I'll throw them on.
Another reason why nobody should road bike. Keep going.
I know. Well, so I threw on the carbon handlebars at the same time as I put on Rev grips. So the difference between aluminum with regular grips and carbon with Rev grips, I was like blown away. It was a game changer for me.
And grips I think are just kind of like the starting point there. The good part about carbon is I don't think like the heat transfer. So like, if it's cold outside, I don't feel like carbon handlebars are as cold as aluminum handlebars.
The heat transfer isn't going to go through your grips.
You only feel the bars if you're doing an aero tuck, which you should never do. Come on.
Or if you're riding with your thumbs up.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But like when it comes to cranks, I feel like if you're on aluminum cranks and you're only on aluminum cranks, you're not going to miss them. You're not going to go to another aluminum crank and go, oh, this is better than the last aluminum crank. If you try carbon cranks, you notice the stiffness in the crank, but it's, I'd say almost kind of sort of marginal. So it's like you're going to pay like a $400 difference, basic or $200. I don't know what the price points are right now, but you're going to pay like a multi-$100 difference between aluminum and carbon. And aluminum, you would never know the difference unless you tried carbon. Yeah. So... But like I personally do love the feel and the stiffness of carbon cranks. I notice it. I love it. But is it worth the extra $200? Probably not.
Well, when you don't have a wife and kids and you've got a job, you're a single man. Hey, 2 carbon bikes, carbon cranks, carbon wheels,
carbon handlebar,
carbon handlebars,
dropper posts,
carbon saddles, carbon grips, carbon chamois, everything.
Like my fly rod is carbon. Like my house is made out of carbon or something like that.
It sounds like you don't need a sponsor. You don't have kids in the life.
Carbon fiber.
Brought to you by Carbon. All right, guys. Well, I think that about wraps up the conversation. The cool part is, I think we both agree, all three of us, and by both of us, that's what I mean. It all comes down to preference for frames, bars, cranks, wheels. At the end of the day, well, we all said wheels carbon. It really is just what works best for you, which is awesome. Yeah. All right, RC, take it away.
All right. If you have not done so yet, you could really help the Joey podcast out by leaving a rating and a review on all their social media platforms like iTunes and Spotify. That goes a long ways to helping these guys out. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
No, that was too good. I think we just need to say bye.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
K, bye.
Perfect.
Oh, but wait, one more thing we want to say.